Welcome to this CP short. We are doing a what we are reading. We haven't done one of these in a long time. I think a lot of the stuff we had been going through was geared towards a different type of audience on some leadership and things like that. But coming back into it, we did get into a book called Bad Science, Quacks, Hacks, and Big Pharma Flax by Ben Goldacre. This is one I've been wanting to read for a while and had a class that seemed to lend the opportunity to go and buy the book and just read it anyway. It wasn't entirely what I thought it was going to be. It was a lot less stats and things that I thought might be coming a part of it. That is another book that we'll probably be checking out here pretty soon. I believe it's called How to Lie with Statistics. That's a story for another day. But this one was really interesting. Ben Goldacre is a physician, and he's really looking at some of the stuff that gets put out there and if it actually has anything behind it science-wise. And so he dives into homeopathy, talks about the placebo effect, some other general things. He doesn't get too far into any one specific category, but just kind of gives a really good layout of what actually makes sense based on what the research actually shows. The thing that I think is the most beneficial thing about this book is, yes, he's going at those, and while he's not directly attacking them, he is trying to call them on some things and just saying that you can't take one research study in isolation. You have to be able to look at that research study and see if it truly is saying what they're claiming it to say, even though a positive result came out of it, they may have ignored quite a bit of the rest of it. And then there's the classic, you got to take a look at who's sponsoring it, because if it happens to be a specific company that's looking for a specific outcome, that can get really messy in terms of what the results actually are going to be. And so that's something to pay attention to as well. He's funny. It's well worth the read. When it comes to that, he has a good sense of humor and whatnot. He does get into a little bit of vaccinations, which is obviously a very hot topic now. This book was written a few years ago, kind of at the start, I would say, of some of the vaccination scares and the conversation about should we be vaccinating, should we not, what is the research actually saying. And again, then he goes into more on the statistics of it all and making sure that it's not too technical, but also gives a really good layout of what all that looks like when it comes to trying to break that down. So again, if you have any interest in just kind of dispelling some myths, or at least being able to get a better chance to challenge yourself looking at the data, this is a great book. That's something that we truly believe in, that there's not only just one thing. Always be careful about what's being sold to you, and then really trying to make sure that it makes sense on the longer run. Make sure the data is good. We see a lot of things about weight loss, and I lost 11 pounds in 3 days. Well, that's really, really hard to do, if not impossible, when you're talking about losing like 11 pounds of fatty tissue or things like that. Like, sure, you could lose 11 pounds if you don't drink a lot of water or you just don't eat anything in terms of trying to put more in. That's definitely possible, but for that to be fatty tissue is pretty hard, if, again, not impossible. We may have something coming up on that later. Same thing with stating that you put 4 pounds of muscle on in a week. Again, physiologically extremely difficult, if not impossible. I think if somebody had the ability to put on 4 pounds of muscle in a week, they would be making plenty of money selling that off to bodybuilders and professional athletes and so forth. So again, knowing what people are using for their measurements, because not every tool is perfect, not any tool is perfect, but making sure that you're consistent with those things to make sure that you're getting the most reliable data to see what's actually occurring. Again, Bad Science, Quacks, Hacks, and Big Pharma Flax by Ben Goldacre. I'll have a link in the description for on YouTube. Also within our social media, there should be a link there as well that you can click on or check it out in our Instagram profile. And so with that, We'll talk to you guys on the next episode.